show with myself, the Cough, and the Roadman. But this is a North London Derby Day special. So we got on a couple of guests, and if anyone wants to join on, please send me a thing, and I will try and accommodate you. But we're going to start with us for David. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. You know, enjoying the weekend, relaxing, chilling out. So yeah, looking forward to the game.
Absolutely. Ryan, Mr. Reactionary is here. We've got the Cough, the Roadman, the Reactionary. We need to come up with a name for Jose at this rate, except for Spanish Buzz. But that's a old time reference. How are you doing this morning, Ryan?
Tired, got the coffee in, ready for the weekend, ready for Sunday. It's going to be a battle.
Absolutely. Senor Jose, buenos dias, senor. How do you feel this morning about everything? How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Bit tired. Played football last night again, but I did 2 matches last night, so I'm very tired this morning.
Yeah.
The limbs are aching. I need to go and have a bath salts.
Ice bath.
Bath. So just to relax.
What you
and
need
warm up
is
the muscles.
mate. You need to be like your man Bentancur. Get the mate out, ice bath. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for you, sir.
But then apart from that, I'm so much looking forward to tomorrow's game. But I look forward to every Tottenham game. So
at this moment in time, we've only got 2 people in the audience. There are 22 of you early goers so far. Let's see who's in the house. We got Mr. Donny Rodriguez, Mr. Sweden. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. We've got Mia. Good to see you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the game. Miss, good to see you this morning. The gentleman. It's a good one. We got Shem Tang is in the house saying good morning to the Fantastic Four. Welcome back, Ben. Missed you on the mornings and the afternoons. Jose does have his name. He's Jose Lo Celso. I don't think so, mate. Good to see you. We got the #1 Aguilar in the world. Good to see you. We got Dennis McPherson. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. We got Audio Artisan in the house. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Right. North London Derby weekend. How are you feeling going into this game, Roadman, Mr. David?
A little bit nervous, but also a bit excited. You know, both of us for like the first time in a while, really. It's a big game for both. It's a massive game for Arsenal, and it's a massive game for us. So I think we're going to see 2 teams really go at it, and I hope we do. I hope we see a proper all-time derby. Obviously, they're in a better position than us at the moment. Their form is on fire at the moment. Ours is up and down. We have a lot of players who need to step up, who haven't over the past few games. But I feel like this could be a really, really, really good derby. I really feel it's going to be a good one. And I could see us getting a result. I really do.
Awesome stuff. Ryan, how do you feel going into this North London derby? Are you going to piggyback off that? Again, although it is going to be like the absolute terrible, well, not terrible, but sputtering Tottenham, who have not found form at all this season, whether that's because of a new system of play, because of this, because of that, versus a very much a firing, well-oiled machine. But again, form goes out the window in a big game like this, because what's your thoughts going into this game?
You took the words out of my mouth. Form does go out the window. We just got to go there. I see the only way we get in a result is if we almost turn into Everton and turn things into a scrap. Because if we're still learning this system. It's shown all season. We don't have the quality yet and the consistency to play sides off the park. So I think going into this game, Ange will do what he always does, which is try and play out from the back, play football. But it's going to be a very dangerous game doing that. Look, I've got to have faith. It's the North London derby. I can't go against my team. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. You know, pre-match, the higher road's going to be busy. It's going to be a very, very good game.
I hope so. That is the one thing I can see turning the game. If it's a hostile atmosphere, like it should be in a big game like this, that Arsenal team is known to buckle under pressure. We saw it at Bayern Munich the other night. That was a much better side than that Bayern Munich team. I don't care what anyone says about, oh, it's Bayern Munich, European pedigree, they know how to win games of football in big games, yada, yada, yada. That Arsenal team was a far superior outfit to that Bayern Munich team. And they buckled under that pressure from that Bayern Munich crowd, which was an absolutely amazing atmosphere. If you haven't seen that, the crowd in that game, they could buckle under the pressure, can't they, Jose? If we do what our job is, which is turn up, make a noise, they can buckle, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Ben, David saying, and Ryan. In a nutshell, it's more or less what I said on my show on Wednesday. I was talking about this game, but I also said it's no different. Form goes out the window. It's no different to the Merseyside derby or the Manchester derby. It's no different. And that night, Everton win and beat Liverpool 2-0. But I've also been saying as well, for me, the most important factor on Sunday is going to be the 12th man, and that's the crowd. I said that the most electrifying crowd that I've heard since we've gone to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was 2 years ago when we beat Arsenal 3-0. Before, during, and after the game, that's the loudest I've ever heard at the stadium. You get anywhere close to that or beat that Sunday, that's worth a goal in itself straight away.
How important do you think the crowd is to the overall atmosphere of the game, David?
Like Jose said, the 12th man is going to be massive. We've seen it with Arsenal, like you were saying about the Bayern Munich, right? Arsenal had the perfect chance when they played at home against them because Bayern didn't have any fans. Now, you've seen them when they went over to their ground and their fans were loud, they were noisy. Arsenal just, they for some reason have this mentality of buckling when it's loud towards them. And like Josie said, the other game we beat them and the crowd was loud. This time, every time they get the ball, every time we get the ball, it has to be peak noise. It has to be super loud. Even if we go a goal down, it shouldn't be silent. There should be noise from minute 1 to minute dot. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it has to be. If we want to beat Arsenal this game, the crowd has to be way behind every single one and against everything they do.
Yeah. Who are your important players for the game, Ryan? Because we have seen this team buckle the entire season for us. They have been so inconsistent this year. And again, it's down to a new system and it's a new style of management, new players playing with new players, trying to try a new way of football. Who is the key player for you coming into this football match? Because is it required of an old head that's been around for a long time to really play the game? Or does one of the younger boys need to show that they know what this derby means and they can come into the game and really put a stamp on it?
A lot of people are going to say Heung-min Son, but I'm not going to go down that route. Not for obvious reasons, but just I generally feel that there's going to be a massively important player for us, more important than Heung-min Son, and that's Rodrigo Bentancur. I generally think if he starts and can play the level that we know he can play and can control that midfield, which we know he has been able to, he's done it against Rodri, he's done it against the top players in Europe. So we need someone to be able to get on that ball and control the tempo of the game, which he's excellent at. We also, basically, I'm looking at pretty much all the Argentinian players, all of our South American players, and Pedro Porro if he's fit, because they have that undeniable amount of passion.
There's a fire that you need for a North London derby. There is an absolute fire you need. And Pedro Porro is apparently fit, and so is Richarlison. And as people like to say, David Harris likes to say it all the time, this season we've only lost 2 games in which Richarlison has started a game of football. So could Richarlison also be in that ilk, Ryan, in terms of him being the guy that presses, the guy that harries, the guy that unsettles a soft underbelly?
That's exactly it. You've got to unsettle them. You can't allow them to come to the ground and just play football. Otherwise, we're in for a long, long afternoon. I don't know how long Richarlison can get out of him. I would start him. I would start him up front. And if we can get, even if it's 60 minutes out of him, that would do enough for me. And just run his socks off. Make yourself a presence. Make those centre backs who have had it easy pretty much for the past 6 months uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do. If he can unsettle them and get that crowd going, because I just want to bring in David's point as well that he mentioned. If we go 1 down, if we go two down inside the first 20, that ground could easily become very toxic very quickly. So,
and that's what Paddy's saying, isn't it? The midfield, midfield is most important. If that area does not tick, we're in trouble. Oh no, wrong comment from Paddy. Here we go. If the atmosphere is the same as last year's, we are effed. I never experienced anything as dead. Every fan needs to be behind the team and push them on. It's. We need that. We need that. Everyone knows what we need to do for this game. Do you think Tottenham fans can do it? Because it's one of those things when Tottenham fans are needed to do something, we don't turn up.
We will. We will. I've got no doubts. Again, the first 20 minutes of this game is absolutely massive. Massive. If Arsenal score early, it could be a very long day. It could be a very, very long day. That's all I'm going to say.
Good stuff. Jose, who is your important player for the game? Are you going to agree with your man, Rodrigo Bentancur, said by Ryan, or have you got another opinion on who will be the important factor of the game?
It's quite tricky because I want to agree with Ryan, but it's quite tricky in the sense that for tomorrow's game, do we know what the lineup's going to be? Because I can't put my hat on who the front three are going to be, and I can't put my hat who the three is going to play midfield are going to be. He's got options for tomorrow. If he is putting his hat on Bentancur, then for me, I'm going to agree 100% with Ryan. Bentancur is the man for me. But I mean, you're saying Richarlison. I agree with the South American passion. We say Richarlison, but yeah, he's been out injured. So whether he's going to pick Richarlison from the start or not, I don't know. Because tomorrow he's got a choice out of. Let's face it, he can choose out of Kulu, Sonny, Johnson, Werner, Richarlison, and 5 into 3 don't mix. So, and in the midfield, he's got 4 or 5 he can pick from in the midfield as well. So it depends on who he plays. But if Bentancur's on the team sheet, then I'm going to say Bentancur. But then I'm also going to say Pape Sarr. If Pape Sarr starts the game with Bentancur tomorrow, both of them become vital tomorrow for us. I think the game gets won or lost in the control in the midfield.
I think Pape Sarr's going to be an immense. If Pape has got over his back injury, and let's face it, he's got a back injury from carrying Basuma the entire season. No wonder he's got back problems. His energy is vital, in my opinion, to a midfield. It's absolutely vital. Who's your important player for the game, David? Are you going to agree with the 2 boys down on the bottom of the screen, or have you got someone else?
Yeah, I actually have. I understand where obviously the main game is in the midfield. I get that. But for me, and I know it sounds really stupid, but I think our most important player is not going to be one, but it's going to be 2, and that's Porro and Ben Davies on the left and right. Because if you watch the way Arsenal play, they always seem to get down the wings. You know what I mean? Ben White and players like that. They get down the wings and they cross the ball in dangerously. And he's been really bloody good at it this season, Ben White has. You've got to give it to him. So for me, I think they're going to be the 2 main players that I think are going to be the ones to dictate the game coming against us. Right? So I think if Ben Davies and Porro are on form, I think the rest will fit in. I think the midfield will fit in. I think the attack will fit in. And that's where I feel that we could be at our weakest if they are not. So for me, it's not just one player. I think it's them 2. Ben Davies and Pedro Porro, I think, if them are on form, will limit Arsenal a lot.
Here's just saying, Ben Davies has never lost a home North London derby in a game he's started. So that's it won't have anything to do with it, to be honest, but it's a funny stat to have. Statistics are there for a reason. It's information. It's not factual. It's just information. But Ben Davies is an interesting one because he can't play that Udogie role. It's not physically possible for him to slot into midfield and to drive forward. I know he doesn't, but can you see Ange tweaking his system to say, Ben, you be a third centre back that day. You play as a third centre back. Porro, you be basically let's say he plays a 4 at the back with Davis, Van der Ven, Romero, and Porro. What happens if he can say, Johnson, you go more into the centre of the pitch, and Porro, you're a right winger today? What if he tweaks it that way? Could you see him tweaking that? Because it's not possible for Ben Davies to play that role. He doesn't have the energy. How old's Ben Davies? 30 now? He can't do that.
33.
30, whatever it is. Udogie's a 22-year-old youngster. He can do that role because he can get up and down that pitch all day long. Can you see him tweaking his formation like that, David, just to see if Porro just attack them? You get at, I don't know who's going to play. I think it's Kivior that's going to play, or Zinchenko can't play.
Or Tommy
Get at that left back, because when Arsenal have the ball, that left back does what we does. He slots into midfield to make an extra man in midfield. Can you see us maybe tweaking the system and maybe going at that way, or do you think Andrew's just going to say, "This is my system. I'm continuing this way"?
No, I think he will tweak it with Ben Davies. I mean, if he doesn't, then I'm sorry, he's an absolute idiot, because Ben Davies can't invert. That's the one thing about Ben Davies. He can invert. He can't invert. He can go down the wing, up and down the wing, fine. He can defend as a straight left back, fine. You invert Ben Davies, you are literally gonna you playing with 10 men, 11 men, whatever. Yeah, playing with 10 men, because he will not be in the game at all. He'll be running around chasing shadows. Now, the one thing Ben Davies is good at is when he's closer to the goal, is cutting in at times, right? And being that extra man for the players to feed off of. We've seen it loads of times in the past, and Ben Davies can get into goal-scoring positions.
Yeah.
So, for me, I think Ange does need to tweak it where he basically says to Ben Davies, stay on the left. If you go up the wing, Verma cuts in and Ben Davies overlaps, because he can do that. And the same similar what you say with Pollard.
Richarlison doesn't start and Sonny's through the middle then.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I think it's one of them. It's
drama.
Yeah, it's if Sonny starts, Ben Davies needs to just stay left back. Be like you said, be that third centre back. If Richie starts, Ben Davies needs to overlap because he can put in a cross, and the perfect player for crosses like that is Richarlison. He can bully defenders. The one thing Sonny can't do is bully a defender. He's a winger. He likes to hold off a player rather than push into a player, rather than use his strength to make that player uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope Ange tweaks it just with Ben. If he doesn't, we're going to have a huge problem. You
can say though with Sonny though, David, Sonny has performed in his better performances this year have been against that top six when he's been playing as that number 9. He's been playing better there because the two defenders won't, because they also want to play football because they're a bigger team and bigger teams want to play football because they think they're better than us. Sonny therefore has that little bit extra space for him to explode into and make that pass. Whereas against a team like, let's say, in Everton, they're going to be like, hold him off. We're staying in this position. We're holding him off.
That's easily dealt with, though. That's the thing with Sonny. If Arteta wanted to, now we've seen Arteta tweak his system throughout this season as well at times. If he watches that Newcastle game, they've already won it. Because all they need to do is just sit back a little bit, control Sonny, and we're not going to have no attacking outlet.
Yeah.
And that's all he needs to do there. This is why when you got Richarlison, if they've thrown Richarlison on, he is fit, he is fully ready to start that game. You chuck Richarlison on because Arteta won't have a clue how to deal with him.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, Richarlison on the pitch does whatever he wants. He will run at every single player who's got that ball. Yeah. He will bash against defenders. He will go down. He will just be the personification of shithousery in a North London derby.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need over Sonny. If Sonny was to start, I'd bang him on the left And if you want, bang Verma on the right or Kulu on the right. Play it in that sense.
What's your thoughts on potential? Do you agree with my statement that Sonny plays better against the top six, Ryan? And you would assume that Arsenal are going to try and play football against us, so you would try and give Sonny that free role, Ryan? Or would you just say, no, we're playing Richarlison today because we know he's got the fight? I know, Gina, please don't attack Ryan. I know you're not in the house. Gina, don't attack Ryan. He's having a point. Right, continue.
It's an opinion. It's an opinion. It's nothing more. Okay. No, I think the stats back up that most of Son's goals have come against teams that not just try and play football, but play a much higher line. There's space in behind. He can run onto it. That's the thing. So Arsenal will come, try and dominate the ball, play a higher line. So that will suit Heung-min Son. Playing him through the middle at the moment, because of the games we've got, I think is a much better idea. But I would prefer him to start on the left, only because we don't have that outlet on the left. Unless you play someone like a Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of one of them things that when you've got your attacking wingers, you need a focal point in the box to cross it to, otherwise the wingers become non-effective.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one, because with Richarlison, at least then as you've got that focal point in the box where then your wingers can put a cross in. It doesn't just get played around, which we've seen a lot. Just played around the 18-yard box, not going anywhere, and then the attack's gone. Whereas most of our goals have been from quick, incisive play. We've got players in the box. We've had Richie in the box. We've had Johnson crossing it in. Yeah. We've had Werner crossing it in, and someone's met it at the back post, whether it be a header or whether it be from a tap in at the back stick. That's where we need to get in behind them through the wings. And I think Son being on the wing, going up against Ben White, should be he should, pace wise, he should have Ben White on toast on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's just whether he can deliver the service or not.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Sonny on the weekend, Jose? Do you agree what we've been corroborating on the stream, or do you see it differently? And the stats do back up that Sonny does better against the bigger teams. So can you see him continuing that form?
I bloody well hope so, because I want to win tomorrow. So, God. But to me, even though he's been injured, right, I would probably start Richarlison tomorrow in the 9. Yeah. I'd start Sonny, and I'd also start Kulu tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do what we need to do, batter them, bash them, shithousery, lean on their defenders, stamp on them, do what you do, what forwards do against defenders, have a right Royal Rumble with them for 60 minutes, knacker them out, and then bring your pace merchants on. So, and to me, how do you win games? You've got to score more goals than the other team, haven't you? So Richarlison and Son are 25 goals plus between them both, or whatever. Yeah. So I'm starting them both if possible tomorrow. I start Sonny out from the left, Kulu out from the right. I put Richarlison up the middle, and then once we've battered and bruised them, then I'd bring in Werner and Johnson to try and be the finishers, like you get in rugby. Try and finish the game. Equally in midfield, if we've run our socks off and we've started with Benton, Sarr, and we've ran our socks off in that midfield, then equally you can then bring your Højbjergs on, Bissoumas if Bissouma doesn't start. You could even look at Lo Celso coming on for Maddison if Maddison's run his socks off as well. So at the end of the day, what we need tomorrow is we need 15 players. 16 players. You need your starting 11 and 5 to come off the bench and be your finishers for you.
Just as a quick little plug, there are 116 people watching on the various platforms. Thank you all for joining this morning for this good little conversation on Tottenham on Tour. We don't like to have debates, really. We like to have nice chill chats in the morning. Sometimes Ryan screams a bit, but that's after a game, and that's just Ryan. But We like
You speak
to.
out, Sonny.
We like to have some wonderful chats. So please subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Please subscribe to my other channel, The Coffee Company. We're trying to get The Coffee Company to 700 subscribers. It would really help us out a lot if we can get to 700. And of course, sub to El Tel Coquerel and Talking Ball with Mr. Jose, streaming every day at 4 p.m. UK time usually. And Jose does his mop-up shows at 10 p.m. on certain days, and sometimes Jose streams in the morning with Chang and Ellie, and there's loads of good YouTube content. Subscribe to everyone on the panel because it really helps us out. We're trying to spread the love. If any of the mobs can shove the links in, that would be most appreciated. That would be great. We're going to talk about Yves Bissouma, David. I think Yves Bissouma has been on borrowed time this season, and I think it's time for him to be put on ice for a bit. But there is one thing that Yves Bissouma usually does, and it's perform against Arsenal. Do you see Ange seeing his past performances against the Filth? Do you think he might put him in just as a little dig to say, he's here, he's going to perform against you guys, be careful? Or do you think that he's going to try something different? Because he's loved, but for some reason, Bissouma has always been the constant this season, even with his sputtering performances, his diving, he's getting sent off, and African Cup of Nations adventure. Do you think that he's going to play Yves Bissouma, or do you see him putting something different in to put a spanner in the works?
Oh, no, I think he's definitely going to start Bissouma. On a personal note, I think he should be dropped. Honestly, I'd rather start Højbjerg there.
Yeah.
And he's leaving this summer. But I'd rather start Højbjerg there because Bissouma has been so off it. But the thing is about Bissouma, he was to turn up in this derby, he will run that midfield. He really will. He's got that in his locker. So I don't understand. Ever since that Luton game, ever since he got sent off, he's had this issue. And he just looks like he can't be bothered at times. And he just makes mistake after mistake, or when he needs to plug a gap, he'll leave it wide open. When he needs to control the ball, he'll make a stupid pass. His head's not with it at all. If he starts and he turns up, Arsenal will struggle like mad.
Yeah.
But then we haven't seen him turn up in any big game at the moment. And we have had a fair few big games, regardless against a little team or not.
Season when he was playing well, he didn't turn up in any of the big games.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a worry. But for me, on a personal note, I'm starting Højbjerg. I mean, I'd even go far to say I'd start like even Bentancur in that type of defensive role. You know, because he can play that. He's very good doing that box-to-box style role. He could be that Declan Rice sitting there, getting the messy plays, controlling the ball. I just feel like if he were
putting your foot into a tackle.
Yeah, exactly. Reading plays. The one thing Bissouma hasn't done for a long time is read plays. We've seen it numerous times where he needs to sit and just hold. He'll run and leave a massive gap that just kills our midfield. Because then you've got three midfielders running over to one player with the ball. A simple pass and they're all out of the game. And when you've got a player like Sarr who is there just to run, that's what Sarr's job is to run at everyone. Then when you have Bissouma doing the same thing, it's a mess. It's a mess. And the one thing Højbjerg doesn't do is chase after loose balls.
He can't because his legs don't.
He can't, exactly. So he sits in that little pocket that limits play, limits passes, limits open, you know what I mean? Things like that. So
it's almost like the Mikey Carrick role when he was at Tottenham and went, just sit in a space and stop them passing forward.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that Højbjerg, as much as people don't like him, one of the things that Højbjerg is good is turning over the possession, passing to someone that can play it, start it. So this is me saying this because I know I'm going to be at Ellie's house after the game on Sunday. Shout out to Ellie. Do you play Ellie's two favourite players? Because you know they've got experience in these games and they were the two midfielders when we battered them 3-0. They know what this means. They've played in big derbies. I mean, Bentancur, when he was at Juventus, played in some of the biggest derbies against AC Milan and Inter Milan and those teams. Do you see them playing the more combative midfielders that are going to be up for a fight, Ryan, or do you think Ange is just going to say, no, this is my midfield for next year, I'm continuing with it?
I don't see Højbjerg playing, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
As this game, you're going to need legs, and he's got no legs. So
Yeah.
final 15, final 20 minutes to shore things up if we're winning 1-0 or something like that, sure, bring him on. But to starting from the start, 100% I wouldn't. We need legs. We need fire in midfield. It's a really difficult one. For me, it's three positions, 4 places, because I don't think Højbjerg is going to play. So it's really, does he play Madison? Or Madison should play. So it's really 2 from 3, Sarr, Bissouma and Bentancur. I would start Bentancur in the 6 because, in fact, you could even start Sarr in the 6. I think he's got the legs to be in the 6, but does he have that footballing ability we've seen?
I think he's got that footballing. I saw it in his first season with Conte. He was always looking for the ball. He was always making himself open to get the ball. I think he could be fantastic in that number 6 role.
So do I.
I think he's got the legs. I think he's got the tenacity. I think he's got them. He's got something that Bissouma doesn't have, which is the knack for wanting to plug gaps. As one of the things that the first goal we considered against Newcastle, Bissouma didn't have that instinct to plug a gap and stop a goal, whereas I think Sarr does have that. I'm going to stop that goal.
We were both there at the San Siro
when
he was in the 6, and he was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
So I think he could definitely play the 6 role. Whether he will play that Sunday is a different matter, and I would just push Bentancur just that little bit further forward in the 8, because I think he's more of a goal-scoring threat than Pape Sarr.
Also, he's got leadership. You want your leaders further forward in terms so they can see more of the play, and that's what Bentancur is a leader in that dressing room. Although he doesn't have the armband, although he's not been given the vice captaincy, which I think is wrong, to be honest. I think they should have given him a vice captaincy role with Maddison and with Romero, because I think he's got that conductor spirit that he has to be able to conduct a field of play.
Yeah, you can tell he will point at people and tell them where to be.
Yeah, and he's always shoring up. He's always got his hands up saying, right, you go there. He's got that leadership presence about him. That's what I would like to see. Jose, what's your view on Yves Bissouma? Does Ange play him? Would you like to see him there? What's your thoughts on it?
It's quite an interesting one because I go back to the last international break last month or whatever it was, and he never got called up for Mali, did he? So he stayed back at the Tottenham Hotspur away for the 2 weeks. So he would have been training with the coaching team and with under Ange's guys for them 2 weeks, and he'd been playing poor up until then. So we were all pretty shocked when he was selected for the game straight after the international break, and he didn't play well in that game either, but we thought that, you know, he'd had his time, he was going to be dropped to the bench. So they must see something in him in the 2 weeks that they do the training in that period. And at the end of the day, it depends on what they've seen in the last 2 weeks that we've been training again. If they see that if they see enough in him, then they're going to he'll play him again. But as Ryan said, it's 4 players for 3 positions. Realistically, I don't think Maddison will get dropped. So then, like Ryan said, it's 3 into 2, and it's like, what's the best combination? I also agree, because I'm going last. I agree that Sarr again in the San Siro, when him and Skip both played the 2 pivot roles, he was absolutely immense against Milan that day. So you know that he's got it in his locker to do that.
One highlight of my trip to Milan for that football game. That was the only highlight, was how good Pape Sarr was. The rest of them were absolutely dreadful. I didn't even get to see the goal because the bloody Milan, because they treat you like animals in UEFA. Sod the San Siro, knock it down, reduce it to rubble because it's a dump now. It's the reason they're building a new stadium without making this a San Siro bash fest. Let's talk about James Maddison, because he has been totally off form, like ridiculously off form. Most Leicester fans, Wayne Holland, our good friend, has said it a lot. He said it a lot over the summer when we signed him. He gets injured and he takes ages to come back. Is this the game that can really light the spot? And because you've said that you've been going last, Jose, you're going first next time. We are doing this. We're doing this. Do you see this game as the spark to let James Maddison loose again, Jose?
Right. So for me, I think that with not having a doggy in the team, it may play in Maddison's favour, because when you've got both the players inverting, I feel that they take some of the space that he's looking for, so to speak, and he ends up dropping deeper for me, Maddison. I want Maddison up in the top end of the pitch.
Yeah.
I don't want him dropping deep. But when you've got the two inverted, go out the doggy and Porro, they seem to take a lot of his space up, and then he ends up dropping deep, and that's not what you want him. You want him to be up there to affect the game. So with tomorrow's game, I mean, it's unfortunate because we probably all wanted a doggy to play, but with a doggy not playing, it means that I don't think we're going to have that full inversion from two players up there, which means he'll find 50% more space. Yeah. Because even if Porro inverts and goes up, a doggy not being there means he finds 50% more space. So it could actually work in our favour tomorrow, or in Maddison's favour, and we might see him on the ball a lot more tomorrow because of circumstances beyond his control. So it'll be interesting. Maddison needs to put in a performance. He hasn't performed for quite a while. He needs to put in a performance. I fear for him, or I did fear for him with regards the Euros, because I think other players have jumped the queue for his squad place.
He's got to perform, otherwise he's not in Waistcoat Man's team.
I think Cole Palmer and Anthony Gordon have probably jumped the queue from him now. So if he wants to make that plane, he needs to start putting in the performances. So yeah, tomorrow will be interesting, but he does need to put a performance in. But I think he'll find more space because of the circumstances that we're in tomorrow.
What's your view on James Maddison, Ryan? Would you corroborate with Jose? Do you think because there's going to be no Udogie in that team and Ben Davies is going to naturally sit 10, 15 yards further back, is this a game where James Maddison's going to start shining again? Because he's going to have that because with Sonny inverting into that, if let's say Richarlison plays as hypothetically, with Sonny dropping more into that number 9 role to support Richarlison, do you think Maddison's going to take up that left wing position a lot more, that's where he likes to be. That's where he loves to be. The advanced number 8 position, getting hold of the ball, moving it forward, being that glue. Do you think this is a game where Maddison can really rediscover his form?
I think it totally depends how high a line we play. If we're on the halfway line, Ben Davies will invert. Ben Davies will invert because people said it because you're not playing the whole pitch, you're playing half the pitch, aren't we? So his legs may have gone, but if he can't make it at least to the halfway line to their end of the goal and back, then he shouldn't be playing professional football because he clearly ain't fit enough. I do see him inverting at times. Might not be as much as say Udogie would. Maddison for me is dropping way too deep, as that comment is saying, to find the ball. I also feel we're not playing the ball as quick, like especially from the back line. Cuti Romero, I love him to bits, but he's probably only let down at the moment is he holds on to that ball far too long. Now, whether that's because the midfield aren't shying for the ball or just because he's taking his time, that needs to be quicker. I watched Bayer Leverkusen versus West Ham in the first leg, and they play a very similar style to us. But the one difference is how quick they play the ball and how quick the ball goes into the feet of their players. It's crisp. And that's the way we've got to learn how to.
Romero and Van der Ven have to play the ball quickly, don't they? They have to fire that ball into that channel to stop that, because Zinchenko is their weakness. Dan from the Hotspur Hood is here, and he loves to have a go at Zinchenko all the time. He is that weakness of that team. When he inverts, that space in that That's why they might play Kivior, because he's more of a defensive player than Zinchenko is. If you fire that ball into a Brennan Johnson in that space, we could terrorize them, because you can stretch that back four, which give the space for the what's it called, the sacrificial lamb, as Ange likes to call him, with the Richarlison role that he's playing, or Kyogo played that role at 7. We got to fire that ball into that area, don't we?
Yeah, it's not just in that area. If we want to get the ball into Maddison, it needs to be quick balls round the corner, so he has time and space to pick his head up. If the ball takes too long, then the attacks break down 9 times out of 10. I'd also like another thing. If Son does run in behind, that also means if Son's playing the number 9 role and he runs in behind, it will drop Arsenal's defence just that 5-10 yards deeper, allowing Maddison just that little bit more time on the ball, which also helps. He can pick a pass. We know that. Whether he is the Eriksen replacement we all cried out for is yet to be seen. Maybe he is more the Modric type replacement, being that deeper playmaker. But I want to see him. He's yet to really grab a game. Not since the North London derby where he had the 2 assists. Time to sharp again. Time to get his form back, because as Jose said, there's a few I still think he gets in the squad, but there's a few knocking on the door. And if Maddison wants to be on that plane to Germany, he's going to have to make sure that door's firmly locked behind him.
Yeah, he's really got to perform. The last couple of games of the season, he's got it in his locker. What's your view on the Maddison situation, David? Are you agreeing with the boys on the panel with Udogie not there and Davis being there? Maybe Maddison can be a bit more influential in the game. What's your view? Or would you try something different? Would you drop James Maddison? What would you do?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to say it, but the way Maddison's form is, he kind of limits us in games at times, because in positions that he gets into, because he's so deep, if you look at the game, majority of the time, he's not playing the pass forward. He's playing the pass sideways or backwards.
Yeah,
which slows the game down completely.
A lot of the time.
Yeah, he slows the game down completely. For me, I mean, I know I'm probably going to get hate for this, but honestly, get Lo Celso on. Because the one thing Lo Celso can do is push forward. He can push forward, though. If you watch Lo Celso, he likes to get forward a lot. He plays that similar to like a left-sided, David Silva.
Yeah.
He plays that little left-sided role there, and he can get the ball. He likes to push forward, and he can find a pass.
He's a ball carrier.
Yeah, exactly. And, I just see Maddison at the moment needs a little bit of a break. He needs a little bit of a bit on the bench. Don't start him straight away, because then when he comes on, he's read the game beforehand. When he's on the pitch and he's getting pushed back deeper and deeper and deeper, he's not effective at all. You could put Oliver Skip doing what Maddison's doing, because he's completely ineffective, and that's the issue with it at the moment. If we can't get Maddison forward, there's no point having him on the pitch. You'd put a Lo Celso on, who, albeit doesn't have that killer pass as Maddison does, but he can take the ball, he can run with the ball, he can go against players, things like that. For me, I think there needs to be
he's naturally left-footed. So without Udogie there, that is a good example to have as someone that is inverted, who's going to get that ball and run into that So basically, we could play that very similar system. Instead of having your left back there, you've got your 8 there.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
You can have your...
And that's my thoughts on it there. I think a few of the players need to step up. And if they're starting, they need to be on it from minute 1. But the way they played this season, they really haven't done that consistently. And you need these players. So I think if you're bringing players on like Lo Celso, who is apparently frustrated at game time, there's reports we want to keep him. Get him on that pitch in a North London derby, you will see an unreal Lo Celso.
Let's see what you can do.
Exactly. And that's what we need from all these players. Ben Davies starting. We need to see top Ben Davies. We need to see him on it from minute 1. If they're not on it from minute 1, I don't care if it's 3 minutes in and they're making mistakes. You get them off and you get someone else on.
Yeah.
Because this is a huge game for both of us.
Yeah.
And that, for me, I feel like Maddison being pushed further back, you need a Lo Celso one to push further forward. which opens space up for a lot of the attacking players. And he's good at passing between the lines.
Yeah.
For the Vermers, the Johnsons, if he's allowed that little bit more of a freer role, like a David Silva. That's my view on it anyway.
I'm going to ask that to the chat. What does the chat think? Do you agree with David? Possibly play a Giovanni Lo Celso in that more advanced number 8 role, because that's somewhat we're going to need a ball carrier, because they have got players that are very good at tackling in the Declan Rices of the world, who are maybe someone that is a ball carrier that can commit to Declan Rice and make Declan Rice face towards his goal. Because if we're playing in front of Declan Rice, it's going to be a very easy game for him. I've said this for a year now. I think Declan Rice is one of the top 5 midfielders in the world. I think he's absolutely incredible. I think he's so underrated, and you've seen how much better they are when you've put him in that team, being that leadership candidate and being that guy that. So you need to get him facing his goal, because he isn't the quickest Declan Rice, because he is naturally a centre back, but he's playing in that role. Do you play Giovanni Lo Celso? Let's see what the people in the chat think. And we've got a couple of comments. Here we go. Mia says Lo Celso has had too many chances. Possibly, but under different managers. Under different managers. But I somewhat agree with you, Mia. I somewhat agree with you. Definitely need to shoot more. I think this is an Ange problem. Since Ange took over, we shoot less. I would like to see us shooting on sight, because I think we can expose a David Raya. We can expose him. He's a good shot stopper, but I don't think he's as good as someone like a Vicario. We'll talk about Vicario in a minute when we get the comments in. We need to shoot more. Immediate crosses. Philly's saying because the midfield is too congested. Maddison hasn't got the space to create because Basuma isn't a natural. Maddison has to drop back to compensate. We leave oceans of space as the wing backs come in. I agree with you. I don't like inverted fullbacks. I think they're stupid, to be honest. I hate them. I think fullbacks should be fullbacks.
I hate inverted wingers.
As well as what not one but that's because we grew up watching Gareth Bale and Aaron Lennon sprinting down the ring.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Those were the days. Those were the days.
Danny Rose, Cole Walker, Aaron
Lennon, Gareth Bale, having Crouchy on the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that's the shit we like, and that's what I like. Joris is saying, I think we should play a double pivot tomorrow. Just be a bit more protection. That way it creates more space for Maddison. Well, possibly. I think that might be a good idea. Not the worst idea to play Giovanni Lo Celso. Gio is more suited to tomorrow's game. He might be, possibly. I would prefer to see Lo Celso. He's made things happen when he's played. Gio only plays if Mattis doesn't come on. Can't both would be suicide. Or it might be brilliant. Who knows? Maddis ties himself in a knot sometimes because he's trying to perform miracles in congested areas. Don't you think Lo Celso is too one-dimensional to control an Arsenal midfield? Maybe one dimension is what we need, rather than trying to do 3 dimensions well. Like 3 dimensions badly, we do 1 dimension well. Maybe that's something. Maybe we need to be a bit more simplistic in our approach. Johnny Bethnal Green is just saying Lo Celso is shite. End of. Tell us what you really think, Johnny. Tell us what you really think. I'd rather play Lo Celso. He's done a better job. This game is decided in midfield. Why not give Lo Celso a go? Charlie saying big up panel, big up. I feel is passing back in the first 15 minutes. It's all over. Who would have thought Maddison would have helped more if the other players were more incisive? Lo Celso has been injured for every manager. That's why he's had so many chances. There's a reason Pep doesn't play inverted fullbacks anymore. I agree. Big up, Leo. Good to see you, homie. Hopefully you're enjoying N17, and hopefully we will hang out a lot tomorrow, because we are going to hang out tomorrow. But good to see you, homie. Good to see you in the chat. There's a reason we don't see anyone playing Fergie 4-4-2 anymore with traditional wingers and fullbacks anymore. I just think people are boring. I want to see 4-4-2, flying wingers. That's what I want to see.
2 strikers, big one and little one.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruthlessness from me, absolutely. You got to be a bit ruthless. Don't start games well. Let's talk about Vicario. This has got to be the game of his life, doesn't it, Ryan? it's got to be Vicario's best game in a Spurs shirt.
No, it doesn't. As I said, the one thing Arsenal lack is a clinical centre forward. They've got Saka. Obviously, you can cut and get some shots away.
Trossard.
Trossard's the big threat.
Martinelli.
Trossard is the big threat. Martinelli is rubbish.
Oh,
Never rated him. My mate knows this. I have never rated Martinelli. If it wasn't for Kante slipping, he would be working in a coffee shop right now with you.
All right, what's that say about me then? Get off my stream.
Genuinely, I've never rated Martinelli. Don't know what the hype is over him. Don't know why. You're singing. Hey, a few Arsenal fans don't want him in the side. There's a reason for it. Trossard's the big threat. We know he's clinical in front of goal. 14 goals, 15 goals from the bench is a staggering amount, which is why I'm fuming we never got him, and was fuming.
13, we're avoiding
12 million. We bid 12 million.
We're going to avoid this conversation. We bid 12 million for Trossard.
4 million across 3 separate installments. Cheers, Levy.
Moving on.
Yeah. I just think if Vicar, the big threat is going to be from set pieces.
Yeah.
We need to mark properly. Get rid of all this rubbish of whatever the system is, and literally just do man to man at corners. Okay, Van der Ven, Mark Saliba.
We are quite, apart from Pedro Porro, who's a bit smaller. We're quite a tall team, so we should be good at corners. Van
der Ven marks Saliba. Romero marks Gabriel. Bentancur marks Kai Havertz. Yeah, and just mark the big men, and then have someone like
have Porro at the edge of the box and get it out.
Yeah, and have a Basuma or a Sarr, someone that's big and strong, shielding the goalkeeper to protect him. Don't have Ben Davis on the goalkeeper when they've got a big guy, say like Kai Havertz, that's trying to stop the keeper from coming out. It's a mismatch. Stop man marking with mismatches. Like I saw it against Newcastle. We had Pedro Porro, Brennan Johnson. We had Brennan Johnson trying to mark Dan Burn.
Mad, isn't it?
Like, how the hell is that going to work? Whose idea was that? Probably Ryan Mason's, because
must have been Ryan Mason's idea.
It's like,
isn't it Jedinak? He's the one who's defensive. Ryan Mason's.
You know the rules of this channel, David. Always blame Ryan Mason.
Yes, and as a fellow Ryan, we always get the blame. So
yes,
always our fault.
Correct.
Always blame the Ryans, and even I can blame a Ryan. So it's one of them things. So set pieces are a big one. Okay, if we can defend our set pieces well, I really don't see Arsenal posing us much of a threat. I don't see them opening us up unless it's through our own bad play. If we play well solidly defensively, I think Arsenal don't have they do have the quality, but they don't have that.
They don't have instinctiveness.
Yeah, the instinctiveness. They don't have that threat, of being clinical. Yes, they put 5 past Chelsea, but that's a woeful Chelsea side. And we know Chelsea versus Arsenal, it's the bend over and take it up the derby.
Yeah.
Whoever needs the result, the other side will bend over for them. So that's what it is. We saw it with, you said Arsenal are a better side against Bayern Munich. What did they really pose going forward? And that's with Eric Dyer at the back.
Who would have thought? Jose, does this need to be Vicario's best game in a Spurs shirt? We went on to set pieces, and we'll talk about set pieces before we end the show.
No, I think Vicario's put in some Herculean efforts already this season. I'd rather not see a Herculean effort from him tomorrow, because if that's the case, then it means that we've done well. Vicario's been immense all season. He is a very, very good goalkeeper. He's not yet hit his prime. He's still got some stuff to learn, but God, it'll be a good journey with him. But yeah, for me, no, because he's done the efforts that he's done already this season. He doesn't have to. I'd rather him not have to put a Herculean effort in tomorrow. Because as I said, for me, if you don't have to do that tomorrow, it means that we're on the right side and we're on the right track.
What's your views on Vicario tomorrow, David? Does this need? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he does need to be on it, but I think everyone does, don't they? Really, it's not just on him as well. I think he'll play massive parts because there is times Arsenal are going to get behind us and they will have shots. You know, I know they haven't really got the best attack, even though they scored loads of goals. What I mean is like the likes of Jesus and stuff. You know, they take like 30 shots to get 1 goal, type of thing like that. So he does really need to be on it. I think he needs to dominate his area on set pieces. But I feel like he needs to talk to the players more as well. We've seen it on set pieces. It's when the mistake happens, he opens his mouth. He needs to be there beforehand. He needs to command that area and tell everyone to be in a position and make sure they are. If they're not, he should be like Hugo Lloris when Sonny didn't track back that day. He should be screaming at him because Arsenal have got really good at set pieces. They are fantastic. They were like us when we had Gianni Vio. They're at the moment. They're like
it's me getting you all pronouncing Gianni properly because you all say Gianni. Gianni. It's one syllable. Gianni
Vio.
It's the same thing with Giovanni Lo Celso. I hate it when people call him Gio. It's Joe. It's one syllable. Giovanni, Giuseppe, Giovannini. It's one syllable. Learn Italian. Pizza,
but yeah, so
pasta.
for me, Arsenal are so dangerous set pieces. It's like we need to do is not give them that chance. Be up their end, be up their side of the pitch rather than ours. The more we're at them attacking them, and we are good at that. The one thing we can do is hold possession a lot. If we can do that for a majority of the game, they will struggle. Arsenal will not like it because Arsenal like to have the ball and they like to immediately attack. If they can't do that, their overall game is boring. Yeah. We've seen it plenty of times when teams go at them. Arsenal do struggle and then they do sit back. I mean, I can't remember who it was. Was it against City? They played 10 behind the ball.
Yeah. Villa was one of the best teams you've seen against them. They dominated them.
Absolutely dominated. And that was because of the press. That was because of the control of the ball. That was because Villa knew their roles. And that's what we need to do. Each player needs to have a role and they need to stick to that role for 90 minutes of that game.
You just go full rock on the Tottenham team, David. Know your role.
Yeah.
Shut your damn mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up. Stay in your position, know your role, and just do it correctly.
Yeah.
No fancy stuff, no messing about. Just do it simple. Simple football and do it well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk about set pieces before we end the show because we always go for an hour on this channel because, I don't know, we've got something else to do. But what's your views on set pieces, Jose? Are they going to be won and lost on set pieces? We are terrible at defending set pieces and Arsenal are fantastic at them, as David said earlier.
Yeah, I don't think the zonal marking is working. So when you had Dan Burn being marked by Pedro Porro, something's completely wrong. So you've got 5'8" against 6'9". You're like, what? Yeah. Why is that happening? With what Ryan said, if they do get set pieces, then we need to man mark them. But you've also got players that weren't mentioned, like Richarlison. If he starts, he's a superb defensive player and attack. He can be good at set pieces. The much maligned Højbjerg, even if he started or if he was on the pitch for set pieces, he can mark a man, he can jump. So we've got other players as well. I just don't like this zonal marking system. Or that's what it appears, zonal marking that we're doing. If we go man for man, I don't think Arsenal score from set pieces if we go man to man. Go zonal, we fall asleep all the time, and then they've got great chances of scoring against us from set pieces. But the one thing is, don't give fouls away. Okay, it's a North London derby, so it's going to be pretty hard to remain composed for the whole 100.
One of the things I don't like about Basuma, needless fouls in stupid areas.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because you're going to be playing 100 minutes plus. Yeah. And you can't tell people to be composed for 110 minutes, 100 minutes plus.
I'm barely composed for 50 seconds.
Yeah, because North London derby it's going to be hectic and that. But if we don't give away the soft free kicks, as you said, or as you alluded to, from not only Basuma, from the whole team. I'm going to say, if we don't give if we don't give the unnecessary free kicks, then we lessen the danger from them on set pieces.
Absolutely. What's your views on set pieces, David?
Well, we're terrible at both at the moment. I mean, when we had, I'm not going to say his name, so I'll do it wrong and you'll shout at me.
Danny.
Gianni Dio. There we go. Right. Anyway, so when we had him, we were so good at attacking set pieces. We were good. Now it seems like the ball comes in the box and we never get it.
Yeah.
We never receive that ball. Having Richarlison on would be massive for that, because the one thing Sonny can't do is head the ball. Yeah. He just does. He's not that in tuned as a player to do that. Whereas Richarlison, that's his game. Richarlison can beat any player in the air.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at set pieces, he's the one there defensively and attacking. If you want to defend defensively at set pieces and you're worried about that, I'm sorry, drop a Romero and put on Dragusin on, because he's fantastic in the air. Yeah. And this is the balance we need to figure out, is why we are so bad in defense and so bad in attacking set pieces. They're not working at the moment. We see that.
Sack Ryan Mason.
Yeah, we're not working at the moment, and something needs to change, because majority of games won, right, are won through set pieces majority of the time. Yeah, Arsenal won majority of their games through set pieces, whether it's a free kick or a corner.
Yeah,
because teams hate defending against them. It's not like being on the break and you're trying to track down a player.
Or good playbook in set pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And so if we're gifting them free kicks and corners, it's going to be a hell of a long day for us. Yeah. We need to be disciplined. And the fact that Michael Oliver's the referee, that's going to be even worse, because we even blow on an Arsenal player, they're going to go down like they do, because that's what Arsenal do this season. You touch them, they're on the floor. He'll give them everything.
The same with everything. Same with every ref. I'm not buying into this crap about, because for me, apart from the past few years since VAR's come in, I thought Michael Oliver was the best referee we had. Best referee we've had in a long time, probably since Dermot Gallagher.
Yeah.
But him that highly ranked. He's not afraid to make big decisions. But ever since VAR, he's dropped into that level with the crap with the rest of the referees. He used to be an excellent referee, but just like all the other refs.
VAR has ruined refereeing. It's ruined
in this country, yes. In this country, yes. In other countries like Italy and France and Germany.
Big up to the Swedish league is the first league to get rid of VAR, apparently. Yeah. Sweden has got rid of VAR.
In other leagues and in Europe, they are referees are using VAR as a tool. In this league, they're using VAR as a fallback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is completely
100%.
Who would have thought I would have said big up Sweden on this channel? With big up Sweden. Get rid of it. It is awful. But on that note, it's actually unfortunately time to end the show. It's our hour.
Match predictions.
We're going to give our predictions and then we're going to end the show. David, hand on heart, prediction for Sunday, tomorrow.
Oh, I'm actually going to be positive on this one. I really want this win. I really want to put a dent in their title hopes. I really want us to get close to that top 4 spot. So I'm going to go 3-2 Tottenham.
Ooh. Ryan, hand on heart prediction.
Getting thumped 4-0.
See, I'm not Eeyore today. I'm not Eeyore. And Jose.
Someone's going to cry.
Oh, everyone in the chat to give your predictions as well. Everyone in chat, predictions. Jose, prediction for tomorrow.
I did a content creators one and I said that Tottenham would win by the odd goal. But yesterday on my prediction show, I've gone for 2-0 Tottenham.
Oh, flippity floppity flu. But that's the point of being a football fan. I'm going to beat Eeyore and say a 2-2 draw, but I would snap your hand off for a draw right now. If you said we draw tomorrow, I would snap your hand off. I do not want to lose to them. Any sort of we can get points off them to stop them winning the league would be fantastic. Not that it's... But let's see what everyone in the chat is saying, and we will end the show. We will see Inner Hyper saying 3-2 Spurs win. We have Arsenal 4-1 from Donny Rodriguez. We have Callum Roche saying 3-2 Spurs. the Hotspur Hood. Dan is saying 2-0 Arsenal. Lazy 8 is saying 3-2 Spurs. Harmless Potato is saying 4-1 Arsenal. 3-2 Arsenal. 3-1 Arsenal. Mia is saying 3-2. Right. Jose, where can people find you, sir?
On El Tel Cockerel.
Yeah.
That happens, Billy. I'll get you a beer.
Ryan, when can we find you next?
I just pop in and out whenever I feel like it.
Yes, you do, and it's really annoying.
You can find me on Twitter. I've got 2 accounts now. Got my old account back. It went for a day. So follow me on Ryan Levy out 14 and Ryan Spurs 14. Ryan Spurs 14 is my backup. Basically, using that just to torment and annoy all the Sonny lovers at the moment. So
don't you do that, Ryan. Otherwise, I will kick you.
Someone will be happy if you kick me.
Yeah, me. David, when can we find you next, buddy?
On here, probably what? I think Monday morning brews. Me and you'll be on. Probably, hopefully, happy talking about such an amazing win by Tottenham. But yeah, you can find me there. And obviously, again, I'm going to plug it in the summer when it starts. The transfer window opens. I'll be doing a lot of transfer videos and things like that, little throw-ins, shorts, etc. Yeah, little bombers and everything. So yeah, when news comes in, I'll be on there, and I'm currently helping run the lads on Tottenham on Tour Twitter, which obviously news will be posted on there as well. So please go over and give that a follow if you haven't done it already. And yeah, there we go.
Brilliant stuff. There have been 189 of you watching the show throughout the show. So a gentle reminder, please subscribe to our second channel, which is The Coffee Can Be, hosted by myself, The Coff. We're going to try and get them to 700. That would be really awesome. Subscribe to Tottenham on Tour, your world famous home of doing this a lot and having fun. Thank you to everyone for all the kind messages towards Brian on his video that he released a couple of days ago. It really means a lot to Brian, and we're helping him get through this bad spell of health. Have a great day. Get behind the team. Up the Spurs. Thank you all so much for watching today's show. And as always, if you smell what the cough is brewing, thank you so much for watching. Ciao for now.